this is Sue Wilkinson from mindbabble.co.uk, and if you tuned in for my attempt at a Facebook Live, you'll see that it failed miserably. Apparently the Wi-Fi, I don't think here is strong enough. I'm down in a very sunny Dartmouth in Devon. I am actually supposed to be on holiday, but hey ho. I thought I'd take this time to try and learn how to do this Facebook Live thing, because Carl Smith helped me last time. So my first attempt was a bit of a miserable failure, but hey, failure is only feedback. So I was going to talk about anxiety, and that was pretty anxious making. So I'm sorry if you tuned in and you're disappointed that you can't ask a question or talk to me about your issues. Anyway, I'm going to do a very quick video now, more or less on the subject that I prepared. So when people come to me for a session, and I'm a modern hypnotist and a SciTAP practitioner, anxiety is generally high on the list of issues. Even if it's unrelated in some way, most people, if they have an issue, have an anxiety factor to it. Now, anxiety actually is completely natural. It's a normal reaction, and it is a mixture of a body reaction or like physiological reaction and chemical releases and internal dialogue. There's all sorts of stuff goes on, and it's normally a worry about something happening, a fear, and a phobia is a form of anxiety. Now, because this is totally natural and normal, generally it's something that will happen. You'll start to get perhaps the butterflies in the tummy, you get the increase in the heartbeat. The body releases something called cortisol, which is your fight or flight chemical, and an adrenaline can also be created. Now, the issue with anxiety is it's actually sometimes useful to be a little bit anxious about something, because it often makes us perform perhaps a little bit better. But when anxiety becomes a normal reaction, or we start to become anxious and catastrophize about things, in other words, that little voice inside that goes, what if this happens, what if that happens, or you know what's going to happen now, this will happen, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and all that anxiety and that angst starts to come up, and it just doubles and trebles, and it puts you into basically a brain freeze. And it can cause sort of digestive problems. It can cause all sorts of unpleasant issues. Now, people that suffer from anxiety, sometimes it can be specific, so they're fine until perhaps it's a phobia or a fear. Perhaps they don't want to fly. At this time of the year particularly, there's an awful lot of people out there who are suffering from anxiety over the thought of getting on a plane or maybe travelling long journeys. Now, for those of us that don't have these issues, it's sometimes hard to understand why people can't just snap out of it. Well, they can't, because the body goes into a freeze. It's this fight or flight thing. It affects a part of the brain called the amygdala, and it drags in all these memories and these issues, and you do literally have a little voice in this head, and it's going over and over and over and over and over. Now, when anxiety becomes a major problem, it can almost become normal. The anxious state becomes normal, and that's when you start to get real issues, and it starts to affect your day-to-day life. It starts to affect how you're feeling. It'll stop you from doing things that would be completely normal. So obviously, because this is a video that was supposed to be a Facebook Live, I haven't got questions coming in. So I'm going to actually just go through some of the things that I was going to show people as a quick tip to help them when it comes to anxiety. One of the quickest things that we can do, something that has been brought into our SciTAP practice, is from an ancient Japanese art called Jinjin Jutsu, and it is to do with finger squeezes. So what happens is when you start to create, when you get this thought, this angst, this fear starts to come up, this anxiety comes up, it's creating chemicals in the body. When you start to feel those initial anxious feelings, and if you're doing this a lot, you'll know exactly when it's starting. I want you to get hold of the first two fingers of one hand, and it doesn't matter whether you use the left hand or the right hand. So these two fingers here, and clasp them very firmly, and clasp them for about 2 to 3 minutes minimum. And there is a reason behind this. When you create a chemical in your body that tells your body to do something, to produce something, the body produces these chemicals in 90-second spurts, so a minute and a half. So if you hold these fingers very firmly, you will have created the first flush of chemicals. However, by doing this, this will prevent the next lot of chemicals being produced. And it will lower your anxious state, and it will give you time to start to calm down. And if you feel that you have control, and often it's the fact that we feel out of control that makes things even worse, you will start to find a way to deal with this. Now, this is just a bit like a sticking plaster, because if you let go and you continue to internalise and create all those what ifs, and all those, whether you're seeing them as movies in your head and whatever it is that you create when you do anxiety, then it will create the chemicals again. But this is a fantastic quick fix, and it means you get control. So please do give this a try. Another one is if you're a bit of a worrier, because anxiety is worry, it's the thumb. So get the thumb and hold the thumb. Again, it doesn't matter which hand it is, okay? But if you hold that thumb very firmly, and again, do it for 2 or 3 minutes, all right? And you'll start to find it very hard to worry because it's preventing the release of those chemicals. So there's 2 quite quick tips. Another one that's very useful, there's something called heart rate variation, and it's to do with how our heart, because your heart is a massive source of electromagnetism. And if you can control your breathing by breathing through your heart, I'm just going to move myself slightly so you can see here. When you breathe, when you're anxious, your breathing will often come from up here, and you breathe up here, okay? When we talk to do yoga breathing, it's the belly breathing. This is different. What I want you to do, I want you to place your hands either side of your rib cage, and I want you to imagine that you're breathing from your heart, from your centre here. And when you breathe, if you watch my hands, if I breathe with anxiety, it's up the top. My hands aren't moving because my breath is coming from up here. But if I start to breathe from my heart, you can see my hands expanding outwards. My rib cage goes sideways. Imagine you're breathing from here, from your heart centre. And it takes a little bit of practice, this does. So when you're not in an anxious state and you've got time to think about it, practice this heart breathing. And if you practice the heart breathing, it will lower and help you to take, again, control. There's a little bit more to this that also helps you to maintain calmness. And that is, once you've got this heart breathing, count in your head how long it takes you to take a breath in. It may take you 7 or 8 counts. And then breathe out. And then count in again and just check whether it's whatever number it is. Say it's 7. The next time you breathe in for 7, I want you to breathe out for 2 numbers more. So if you breathe in for 7, you're going to breathe out for 9. And you keep that rhythm. So you've got the breathing, you then do the counting. So whatever the number is breathing in, then breathing out, you breathe out for 2 more numbers. And then once you've done that, I want you to take your awareness to the point where your breath goes out, and just before you take a breath in, there's a still point. There's a point where you just feel there's a second of nothingness. And that still point, as you use that variation of breathing, that still point starts to become longer, and focus on the still point, and it's a real calm place. It's like a little magic place. So that's a way of creating a very good breathing system that will help you again take control. And of course, you could do it all together. So you could be doing the finger squeezes, concentrating on the breathing, and you'll find that you will be able to take control. Now, one of the other things is, if you do have general anxiety, then I'm a thought field therapy practitioner. So one of the things I use is tapping on meridians around the body. And if you find that you're getting anxious, another one, and also if you have a bit of a phobia, if you tap this point here, if I just move my hair, this point here, so tapping just above the eye here, close to the end of the eyebrow, if you tap there for about 15 or 20 taps, and then you tap, I'll move this again, underneath the arm, sort of where a lady's bra strap would be, 10 to 15 taps, and then onto the collarbone. Here's my collarbone points. You find your collarbones there, just underneath, so sort of just above my necklace here. And you tap there as well, okay, tapping that point there. So it's above the eye, under the arm, under a collarbone. That little tapping sequence can also be used to take down a level of anxiety. So 3 really good quick tips there for you. If you'd like to know more about what it is that I do with PsyTap and being a modern hypnotist, then you can contact me through my website, which is mindbabble.co.uk. On there you will find lots of other bits of information, and also you can email me from there on the contact form at change@mindbabble.co.uk. If you want to come and have a session with me, I work from the Midlands, so I'm based very close to a little town called Bridgnorth. I do travel a little bit, but at the moment I can't use Skype because, thanks to technology, it's not stable enough. In a session, often your anxiety isn't the thing that's making you anxious. It's come from something that's happened many years ago, and you may not even have recognised it. You may not even know where it is. Invariably, anxiety, if it's deep anxiety, will come from something that happened in childhood. And it's hypnosis really that is the best way of getting at that. Or PsyTap, which works very much on the subconscious, and it is very similar. But they're both, the type of hypnosis and the PsyTap that I do are both very quick and very effective techniques. So I hope this helps, and I'm sorry that my Facebook Live was not as successful as I was hoping. I think I'll have to wait till I get home. And I hope the information here will be useful. Please do leave me some information underneath, and if you've got any questions, then either message me or just leave a question under the posting of this video. So I'll say goodbye now. Mindbabble.co.uk. I'm Sue Wilkinson, and please have a look at my site and see how I get on. I hope you can help me. I can help you. Okay, thanks for listening to me. Bye bye.